Zach Lavine made a name for himself pulling off some of the most jaw-dropping dunks we've ever seen on the NBA court, but over the years, he's really evolved to become one of the most lethal scorers in the whole league. In today's video, I want to look back at his high school ranking and see where all the players ranked ahead of him are today, and man, were some of these surprising. I've really been enjoying this series. If you want me to continue, let's aim for 7 likes on today's video, and let's get into this. We've come to know Lavine as a 6'5" shooting guard, but coming out of high school, he was actually listed as a 6'3" point guard. Looking back, it's crazy how disrespected he was in the rankings. The athleticism and rarely seen leaping ability has always been there, and he was putting up numbers. He won Washington State Player of the Year as a senior, averaging 29 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. He would graduate as just the 50th player in the country and decided to go to UCLA. By the time he reached Los Angeles, he was already listed at 6'5", but he actually spent his freshman season coming off the bench. He would average 9 points, shooting 44% from the field and 38% from 3. Nothing crazy, but the upside just jumped off the screen, and he would go to the 2014 draft, where the Minnesota Timberwolves would select him with the 13th overall pick. For a player that appeared to be extremely raw coming into the draft, he actually came into a pretty big role, starting at point guard for 40 games as a rookie. By his second season, it became very clear he was just never going to have the playmaking to play the point guard position, so he switched to shooting guard. By his third season, he was already averaging 19 points, shooting 39% from 3, but midway through the year would tear his ACL. On draft night the next offseason, he'd be sent to the Chicago Bulls in the Jimmy Butler trade, and in the 2018 season, he'd played just 24 games fresh off that ACL tear. It was in 2019 where he would really break out. He averaged 24 points, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds, shooting 47% from the field and 37% from 3. Now, just 2 seasons later, at 26 years old, he's coming off a season where he put up 27, 5, and 5, shooting a ridiculous 51% from the field and 42% from 3 on over 8 attempts a game. Lavine gets a lot of hate for absolutely no reason. There's very few players in the league even capable of this level of scoring production. Yes, there's holes in his game, but those are amplified by the fact he's never had a great roster around him. I truly think the narrative is going to drastically change next season, playing alongside guys like Nikola Vucevic, DeMar DeRozan, Lonzo Ball, and Patrick Williams. But now let's get back to 2013 and look at every player that was ranked ahead of him. Given that he was ranked at 50, it would take way too long to go through everyone in one video, and the fact that he was a point guard in high school but then switched to a shooting guard in the NBA, I'm just going to focus on every guard that was ahead of him, which narrows down our player pool to just 21 guys. So starting it off, we've got Keith Frazier, a 6'5" shooting guard that was ranked 1 spot ahead of Lavine overall at 49. He ended up going to SMU for college, where he played 3 seasons, and as a junior averaged 12 points and 4 rebounds. He then transferred to North Texas for 1 season, but he played just 4 games and was able to hold on to another year of eligibility, which he used at UTEP in 2018. As far as I could find, it doesn't appear his basketball career continued after that. At 20, we've got 6'3" shooting guard and the 48th player overall, Anton Gill. Gill would end up playing 2 seasons at Louisville, then 2 seasons at Nebraska. Over his 4 years, he averaged just 4 points, shooting 36% from the field, so no surprise, he went undrafted in 2018, and since has been playing overseas. 19 was 6'7" shooting guard and the 47th player overall, Brandon Green. He decided to go to Kansas, where he played 3 seasons, averaging 5 points and 12 minutes a game. He would go undrafted in 2016, and since has been playing in the G League. Then at 18, we've got 6' point guard and 46th player overall, Connor Freitkamp. He would also attend Kansas, where he had practically no role as a freshman, so he transferred to Wichita State, played 3 seasons there, as a 5th-year senior, averaged 11 points a game. He went undrafted in 2018, and has been overseas since. 17 was Nick Emery, a 6'2" point guard and the 45th player overall. He went to BYU, where as a freshman, he looked like a possible future college star. He was averaging 16 points, shooting 38% from 3 on almost 7 attempts a game. BYU thought they had found the next Jimmer Fredette, but during his junior season, he'd be involved in a massive scandal where he reportedly violated NCAA rules by receiving incentives such as vacations from school boosters. This would cause him to leave basketball and never return. At 16, we've got Xavier Whitfield, a 6'3" shooting guard and the 44th player overall. He'd played 3 solid seasons at Florida State, averaging 12 points and 5 assists, before going undrafted in 2017. He had some small stints in the G League, actually played 5 games for the Memphis Grizzlies, but he's currently playing overseas. 15 was 6'5" shooting guard, 41st ranked player in the country, and March Madness legend Sindarius Thornwell. Thornwell would play 4 years at South Carolina, but really broke out as a senior. He averaged 21 points and 7 rebounds, shooting 45% from the field and 39% from 3, while being one of the top perimeter defenders in the country. A lot of advanced analytics actually support that this was one of the best individual college seasons we've ever seen. He'd become a household name when he led the 7th-seeded South Carolina all the way to the Final Four. He then went to the 2017 draft, where the Bucks would select him at 48, but then he was then traded to the Clippers. So far, he's spent almost all his time in the G League and is currently on a 2-way deal with the Magic. Coming in at 14, we've got 6-foot shooting guard in the 35th player overall, Matt Jones. Jones would go to Duke, where he played all 4 years, and as a senior, averaged 7 points, shooting less than 40% from the field. He goes undrafted in 2017, spent some time in the G League, and is now overseas. At 13, we've got 6'5" shooting guard and 32nd ranked player overall, Isaac Hamilton. Hamilton decided to join Lavine at UCLA, where he actually had 3 very good seasons, averaging 14 points as a 38% 3-point shooter, but he still went undrafted in 2017, went to the G League, and is now playing overseas. 12 was 6-foot point guard Derrick Walton, the 30th player overall. He played 4 seasons at Michigan, where as a senior, he was one of the top guards in the country, averaging 16, 5, and 5, shooting 42% from 3. He'd go undrafted, and while he's actually played in 42 NBA games across 3 different teams, he's primarily spent his time overseas. At 11, we had Robert Hubbs, a 6'5" shooting guard and the 29th player overall, who went to Tennessee. Played 4 seasons there, went undrafted, and is now overseas. Seems like a common theme for this video. The first to crack the top 10 was Juwan Johnson, a 6'5" shooting guard and the 27th player overall, went to Marquette, played 4 years, went undrafted, is now overseas. At 9, we had Anthony Barber, a 6'2" shooting guard and the 26th player overall. He'd go to NC State, where he actually had an amazing season as a junior, averaging 24, 5, and 5, but still went undrafted in 2016, went overseas, where he's been since. 8 was 6'1" point guard and 24th player overall, Demetrius Jackson. He played 3 years at Notre Dame, averaging 16 and 5 as a junior, and we finally have another guy that got drafted. He was taken with the 45th pick in the 2016 draft by the Boston Celtics. He played in just 26 games, going back and forth between the G League, and is now overseas. At 7, we've got 6'6" shooting guard and the 23rd player overall, Jabari Bird. He played 4 very solid years at Cal, and wow, we've got another guy that got drafted. He would go with the 56th pick by the Boston Celtics in 2017, but he played just 13 games and has spent most of his time in the G League. Coming in at 6, we've got 6'2" point guard and the 20th player overall, Tyler Ennis. As a freshman, he was actually one of the top names in college basketball, being the starting point guard for a Syracuse team that started the season 25-0. I still vividly remember his half-court buzzer beater against Pitt to keep their undefeated record alive. On the season, he averaged 13 points and 6 assists, shooting 35% from 3. He would go to the 2014 draft and be taken with the 18th pick by the Phoenix Suns. He bounced around the league up until 2018, averaging just 4 points. He's currently playing overseas. 5 was 6'3" point guard and the 19th player overall, Nigel Goss. He played 2 solid seasons at Washington before transferring to Gonzaga, where as a senior, he played amazing. He averaged 17 points, 5 assists, and 6 rebounds on really solid efficiency. He would go with the 55th pick in 2017 to the Utah Jazz, but then would decide to go overseas, and he's played there to this day. 4 was Rasheed Jordan, a 6'3" point guard and the 17th player overall. He would play 2 seasons at St. John's before going undrafted. He spent some time in the G League, but actually ended up getting arrested and served 3.5 years in prison. He's now out, trying to make a comeback overseas. 3 was 6-foot point guard and the 10th overall player in the class, Casey Hill. He played 4 underwhelming seasons at Florida, went undrafted in 2017, and has been overseas. At 2, we've got the first half of the Harrison twins, 6'5" shooting guard Aaron Harrison, who was the 9th overall player in the country. He went to Kentucky, where as a freshman, he played a massive role in Kentucky's run to the NCAA tournament game, but returned for his sophomore season, where his numbers actually went down across the board. He'd go to the 2015 draft, where he went undrafted, spent some time on the Charlotte Hornets, then the G League, and is now overseas. The top-ranked guard in the class and the 5th overall player was the other half of the Harrison twins, Andrew Harrison. He had 2 pretty underwhelming seasons at Kentucky. Just like his brother, regressed as a sophomore, but decided to go to the 2015 draft, where unlike his brother, he would be selected with the 44th pick by the Grizzlies. He played 3 seasons in Memphis, even starting in 46 games during the 2018 season, but averaged just 7 points on terrible efficiency. Currently, he's playing in China. So that's it. Those are all the guards ranked higher than Zach Lavine. Man, was this one crazy compared to the previous ones. There was only one other player that got drafted in the first round, and not a single player from this list is even on an NBA bench currently. I think it's safe to say Zach Lavine was getting extremely slept on. But that's the video, guys. You guys tell me your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked the video, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.